5:30 on January 28th, 2026. So I'll call this meeting of the Morton County Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Let's start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Braun is absent. Buckley is also absent. Berger.
Here.
Rohr.
Here.
L.
Here.
Tomac.
Here.
Wald.
Here.
And Zachmeyer.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to approval of tonight's agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Post same
Aye.
sign. Post same sign. Motion carries. And approval of the minutes from December 17th, 2025.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Chair Kist, I was given permission by Jackie to share her health information. So she got surgery, or she was scheduled for surgery yesterday for stage 1 lung cancer. So stage 1 is good, you know, that it's not too far along. And she is still running, so she said she's willing to be nominated for, if she needs to be nominated for vice chair or whatnot, she said she's willing to take that. So,
Thanks, Natalie.
yep.
Okay, so then I will hand over the chair. And
Are there any nominations for chair?
Madam Auditor, I would nominate Jesse Kist for chairman. Looking for a second.
I'll second.
Is there any other nominations for chair? Any other nominations for chair?
Madam Auditor, I'd move that nominations cease and a unanimous ballot be recorded for Jesse Kist as chairman of the Morton County Planning and Zoning Board for 2026.
Second.
Okay, we have moved in second to cease nominations. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It's unanimous. Jesse, you are chairman. And then I think I turn it back over to you for vice
okay,
chair.
I do vice chair. Okay. Okay, are there nominations for vice chair?
Mr. Chairman, I would nominate Commissioner Rohr for vice chairman.
Second.
Well, Commissioner Rohr here. Just want to comment, you know, my term will be up in June. So you might want to consider that as a factor, whether you want somebody, otherwise you'd have to probably place else in charge in that position in June. Also, the audio, my audio seems to be fading in and out quite a bit here.
Okay, well, I will nominate Commissioner Tomac.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, I think Chief Rohr withdrew, so it'll be just Commissioner Tomac as of this point.
Any other nominations?
Mr. Chair, I would nominate Jackie Buckley.
I'll second that.
Is that a, are you withdrawing your?
No, that is not a withdrawal.
Okay. Okay, any other nominations? Oops. Do I have to close the,
3 times.
Okay.
Gotta call
Any
3
other
times, and you can
nominations?
close nominations, and then it's a secret ballot.
I'll do final call for nominations and close the floor to nominations.
And Chair Kist, I guess since Commissioner Rohr is virtual, maybe he can put, we can close this and he could put in the chat. And then Heidi can give Belinda the ballot, maybe.
Are you okay with that, Dennis, to type in the chat your,
Mr. Chairman, I'm having a difficult time with the audio here. It fades in and out quite a bit, and sometimes I don't pick up what's being said.
Dennis, can you hear me better now?
I can hear you right now, yes.
So the nominees for vice chair are Commissioners Tomac and Buckley. Can you type in the chat who your vote would be for?
Except I will close the, I'm going to move this. There, don't do it yet.
Is this just yours?
Yep. You gotta pick them up.
Okay, there. Now you're not showing, Dennis. You can put it in the chat and then Heidi will close it up.
Do you want the extras?
Extras.
Didn't get Maria's?
No, they're just extras.
Oh.
Yeah, actually.
Because there's 7.
Oh.
Are we sure you understand if he hasn't? Are we just waiting for him? Should we talk to him some more?
I guess we're going to do it on 5. And that's a tiebreaker anyway.
So it's,
Oh, it's 6. Oh, yeah. Tell him he's got to
He has to vote.
He has to vote to be the tiebreaker. Shoot. So he need. Okay, I'm gonna. Dennis, if you can type into your chat feature on the GoToMeeting your vote for either Commissioner Buckley or Commissioner Tomac for vice chair, if you can type it in the chat.
I mean, at this point, if we know it's a tie, we're gonna know his vote, so we're just have him tell us.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
we're
true.
just gonna do it this way.
What is my options?
your options are Commissioner Buckley or Commissioner Tomac.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna move this though so that, okay. We got him engaged here. Okay,
Where's the music?
it's all riding on you, Dennis.
Well, I sure made it interesting. Now we know how to do this.
The new vice chair will be Commissioner Plum.
I kind of figured that. Yeah.
Right. So the new vice chair is Commissioner Tomac. Okay, is it cold?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
item number 2.
So we have, after last meeting, we noticed that we had not addressed the utility easements on Montes Rancheros 6th. So we talked a whole lot about right-of-ways and vacation of right-of-ways. And then when I was bringing the plat forward to County Commission, I realized there was the request also to vacate the utility easements that were next to the right-of-way within Montes Rancheros. And I did not want to hamstring the utility companies, especially if they had existing infrastructure in those. So I reached out to the utility companies. They are always, I always reach out to them in the beginning of the process. They don't always necessarily look at the packets, so I had called it especially to their attention. And they suggested that we preserve those utility easements, but because we're vacating the right-of-way, to bring those utility easements together along the shared property boundary. So the applicants are fine with this, the utility companies were happy with it. In your packet, you have the plat that was approved at Planning and Zoning, and then you have a plat that was revised. So I'm gonna put up the old, like the plat that Planning and Zoning approved, and then I'll put up this revised plat so we can talk about what the difference is. So this is, just to give you a context. So this is the Rough Rider Lane internal subdivision road. When we get up to lots 1 and 2, this right-of-way is getting vacated, but the utility easements were alongside it. So this shows the right-of-way ending where this square is. There would be the turnaround to get back out. And then this is a 14-foot utility easement that is to be vacated. It had gone through this structure here, and then a 14-foot utility easement along that, alongside what would have been the old right-of-way. So that was what was approved at Planning and Zoning. So this would be the revised version where the utility easement gets smaller and comes together along this shared property boundary. So the old utility easement would get vacated, and then a new utility easement would be established along that shared property boundary. So it's that change. Does that make sense to everybody, or do I need to explain more? So essentially P&Z did approve this plat, but that was a small change that needed to come back and be just validated by the board. So I guess my ask or my suggestion would be just to approve or recommend approval to County Commission of this plat as it is. Nothing else changed except for that utility easement.
Okay, any questions for Natalie? Okay, not seeing any, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. If there's anyone that would like to speak. Second call for the hearing. Third and final call. And I'll close the hearing. Ready for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve the revised version of the plat for the Montes Rancheros 6 subdivision as presented.
Commissioner Rohr, second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 3.
Our next item is the Harmon Village 24th subdivision. This is in the west half of Section 12, Township 140 North, Range 82 West. The applicant is WW Ranch LLC. They are adding on the next phase of Harmon Village. So up here, this is all residential, this is all agricultural. So this is their most recent master plan. This sits right here. So it's these lots right here is the 24th. These roads have already been fully constructed. They are leaving space for a subdivision road in between the 24th and the 23rd, an 80-foot right-of-way for future road when that next phase would be added. This is 13 lots, 25.73 acres, zone change from agricultural to residential. Missouri West Water did say that they should be able to serve these 13 lots. Power should be available. The stormwater management plan came back and the county engineer reviewed and said he didn't have any exceptions with it. As with all the lands that have been in Harmon in this location, the Historical Society said they just want people to be aware that there could be cultural resources. So to be aware of that, they always suggest a class 1 literature review, and we haven't applied that in the past, but I just make that comment to have the applicant be aware. So staff is recommending approval, and I can take any questions.
Any questions for Natalie?
I do have a question, Mr. Chair. Natalie, has anything changed with this one versus the last one?
No, it's exactly the same. The only thing is just that we require that stormwater management plan, and that was submitted and given a thumbs up.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Yes, and I do want to point out, because the stormwater management plans make the packet so much bigger, I did add links, in the email that I send you with your packet. I didn't put them in the packet, but they were linked so that anyone can review them in their entirety online. They're available to anyone online.
So Natalie, I admittedly missed that. But, so what is the stormwater approach in Harmon? I mean,
Sure.
I guess I'm a little curious because we've gone through so many of these, and it doesn't seem like there is any stormwater infrastructure.
Yep, and so I'm going to put the master plan back up there. So there are plans for retention area here, and that's, pretty much the extent, I think, of what the stormwater would be. Generally, as these have come forward, the numbers that are run show a net no increase. That's just how they always seem to come back.
Are there, because we're not looking at a grading, do we have a grading plan?
No, there wasn't a grading plan. This was essentially 2 watersheds. This was the graphic in the plan, and then the tables were elsewhere.
Okay. So roadside ditches?
And if the applicants, I know Dave's not here, but,
Yeah, and that's fine. I guess it just, on these long forms, it seems like we've made others jump through fairly significant hoops, and we've had a lot of discussion about stormwater, and seems the magic of the Harmon villages is kind of, we don't talk about it.
and maybe that's a direction, a concern to bring up with any next phase is maybe we need a bigger look at, a few phases together. You know, if it's only 13 or 10 or 16 lots coming forward at a time, that we need a broader look at that impact within the context of the master plan.
Okay, any other questions for Natalie? Okay, not seeing any, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. If there's anyone that would like to speak, please come up to the podium. Second call for the hearing. Third and final call, and I'll close the hearing. Thoughts from the board? Natalie, can you put the master plan back up and
Yes.
I guess just help me understand again
Yep.
where this is? I think I got it. Yeah, I guess I'll just kind of reiterate, I wish I would have caught that the link for the stormwater plan was in our email. Ultimately, it is the county engineer's responsibility to review that.
Yep.
I would say I don't have a lot of faith in the determination that all of these decrease runoff. That's
Cumulatively.
cumulatively, I'd say that's highly unlikely. So maybe less than this. I guess my concern is Honey Hills and places like that where we've really scrutinized stormwater, and this is getting to be a much larger development. So
For sure.
I don't know.
I will convey that when the next phase would come through, that we want to see probably, I would think, a recap of the cumulative effect of what has come on that side of, I think it's Terrier Drive and then County 140. And whatever the next phase would be added in altogether, probably.
Assuming the county hasn't received or been receiving stormwater-related issues, concerns in this area?
Right, and I certainly haven't. Nobody has brought that forward. So, I mean, I guess I would say that's a good point that, you know, and most of those lots are built out. Not all of them, but I mean, it's more than half, probably well more than half. So I think if we were going to encounter problems, we probably would have heard about it. But I mean, that is a good point. You know, since the retention area is in whatever phases would be on the east side of Terrier, maybe it's more important to have those come in as a whole set. You know, not just the next phase, but when more lots come in on the east side, that it gets assessed as a whole rather than each phase individually.
Yeah, I mean, is there actually a stormwater master plan? So,
not to my knowledge.
Okay.
They've always just come in phases.
Mr. Chair, if I could, I kind of echo your concern, especially since that area that they're planning for stormwater is right on County Road 140. And having lived up in this area, that slough can get really full.
Right.
So I'd be curious to see a full plan. That and there's a topography break in here somewhere, but I can't remember where it's at.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and so maybe the bigger picture concern here is the piecemeal approach and kind of just bit by bit, it's fine, which isn't a good precedent to set for how we do these. I mean, I think there's reason it's occurred that way. I don't know that it's anybody's fault, but
sure. And I can convey that again, that would be the expectation for future phases, is that we need to, and I think we probably need to assess again, you know, the master plan in general and the layout and have a discussion about that. So, and I will make that known to the applicant that we probably need to have a more in-depth discussion about layout and stormwater for future phases, especially on the east side of that road.
Right, assuming the stormwater plan that was submitted showed just this area and said it doesn't change anything, it's fine. But we're still, at the very least, it's concentrating flows into a ditch and sending them through more residential areas and ultimately to some pond that we don't really know anything about.
Right.
And I mean, those unknowns have been enough for us to delay or deny, or not, maybe not deny, but delay the approval of other subdivisions. I mean, Honey Hills, Maverick Estates, we scrutinized that. So
yeah, for sure. And I think this is slightly different because the number of lots that's come in is so much smaller, you know, that
incrementally.
That for sure. And I'm saying it just has to do with developer approach for how many lots they bring forward at one time. So it just, that was a difference. You know, Honey Hills came all at once, you know, 50 something lots. So it's quite different than 13 in terms of impact and showing impact. So.
But if Honey Hills had come
piecemeal
10, 10, 10, we would have expected the same outcome that we got.
Well, I mean, if they could show a no net increase, we probably would have taken it in this way as 10, 10, 10. But it is much better to do it as a whole project, for sure. Because that is that's our standard. That's what the stormwater manual says. But I think it's a very important and valid concern that we need to be assessing the larger picture. And maybe that's something that we look at and update in the stormwater management plan. You know, if that, in the same way, like with floodplain stuff, cumulative, you know, repetitive loss, or, you know, where it's like you have to look at, maybe a retrospective or a prospective, you know, if we're gonna get a certain number of additions within some number of years, that it has to look at that larger picture. That could probably be an update in the
Right.
stormwater management plan. Yeah.
Right, because the way they analyze these, even if they're showing that what they're looking at is the peak rate of runoff coming off of this piece of the subdivision. So even if they can show those all stay the same, the volume of the runoff unquestionably increases as you add gravel and structures. You're increasing the volume, so things like this pond along the county road are going to take a larger volume. It's going to fill up more, maybe impact groundwater into people's basements. I don't know. So, yeah. Anyways, that's enough of that.
Very good points.
Okay, thoughts from the board. And maybe we should switch over to Dennis. Thoughts, motions?
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to make a quick comment. This must be an older map, the one that's colored, but I count in the, I don't know if it's 23 or whatever it is, there's at least 10 lots that are not developed yet. And then you add 13.
With the aerial?
Well, I'm using a program I have here, so, I mean, there's more on here that are not developed, but I'm just going to take the lesser. But my comment was, there's 10 that are not developed, and then 13 you're adding. And have there been any complaints about low water pressure in that area?
Missouri West Water fields those. If there are complaints about water pressure, those go to Missouri West Water. And their comment was that they can supply 13 new accounts here.
Okay, I just thought I'd bring that up just in case there's, you know, complaints or whatever that we're thinking of them.
For sure.
Anything else from the board? Would anyone like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend approval of the final plat of the long-form subdivision known as Harmon Village 24th and a zoning map amendment from agricultural to residential as the subdivision conforms to the regulations established in Article 7 of the Morton County Land Use Code, and it keeps in with the land use priorities established in the 2045 Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, item number 4.
So our next item is the Stark subdivision, but our two next items, Stark and Lee, are very closely related, so I'm going to kind of talk about them together. So this is in the northeast quarter of Section 11, Township 137 North, Range 84 West. So this is Lee subdivision, and this is Stark subdivision in blue. This is Fish Creek Dam, to give you an idea of where this is. So this is County 137. So essentially, these two landowners, because of the way that the section cuts and the road cuts property, they're swapping property so that they each own up to the road on their respective sides of the road. So both of the subdivisions are requests for rezoning to estate, so they're not going to develop anything, it's just a land swap. That's what we made that zoning designation for, is for agricultural land swaps that don't meet that 35-acre minimum. So the respective applicants are Lee Ingalls and Darren Stark, and their subdivisions are the opposite name of who's applying, because that's who's going to get the land at the end. So Stark subdivision, 1.57 acres, very straightforward, and zone change from ag to estate. So I am recommending approval of this one, and I can take any questions.
Any questions for Natalie? I'll open it up to the public soon. Yeah, sorry. Good. Any questions for Natalie? Okay, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. If there's anyone that would like to speak, come on up to the podium.
Thank you. Thank you this evening. My name is Lee Ingalls. Anyway, Lee's subdivision. I own the land on the south side, and I'm attempting to pick up a portion of land from Mr. Stark, and we'll trade and things. The one thing that it would be beautiful for residential. However, the land is crossed by a power line, a large western WAPA line is what they're called, Western Area Power Line. And the easement is, I believe, 75 feet on either side of that line. And that runs along that runs on the south side of the county road through this. It precludes any building of any type. That their easement, I believe I looked it up, was dated on the abstracts 1950, and I don't know how long they're rebuilding this stuff here, and it's going to be there for quite a while. And I assume that later on they may replace these structures with steel structures. So there's no chance at all of any residential, even building roads, anything at all. Anyway, it precludes building sheds, stockpiling stuff. So it's going to, and we're simply just tidying things up and things. So thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Lee. Okay, second call for the hearing. Third and final call, and I'll close the hearing. Okay, Commissioner, so ready for a motion on the Stark subdivision.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend approval of the final plat of the short form subdivision known as Stark subdivision and a zoning map amendment from agricultural to estate as the subdivision conforms to the regulations established in Article 7 of the Morton County Land Use Code and is in keeping with the land use priorities established in the 2045 Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, on to the Lee subdivision.
Okay, so I won't repeat the other things, but this is officially in the south half of Section 2, Township 137 North, Range 84 West. So basically, Stark was a little bit that way, and then this is just on the south side of the road. So as Lee mentioned, there is a WAPA line that goes all the way through here. There would be no ability to really build anything on here, so It is 2 lots because this is a right-of-way. Mr. Ingalls owns this property here, but it's a section line, and potentially someday this could transfer separately from that, so a right-of-way is necessary to get down to that property. So the right-of-way automatically splits 2 lots. So this is 2 lots. Otherwise, it could have been just 1 lot. And again, just rezoning to estate for sake of property swap. So staff is recommending approval of Lee subdivision and the rezoning from ag to estate, and I can take any questions.
Any questions for Natalie? Okay, I'll go ahead and open this public hearing if there's anyone that would like to speak. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Good evening, Commissioners. I just wanted to ask if we could add that easement to your approval. I would like to add that to the drawing, a WAPA line easement that runs through there. I intended to do that, and we don't have it on there, so if you could make that part of your motion so we don't have to come back a second time, I would appreciate it. Any questions for me while we're up here?
Any questions for Mark?
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, second call for the hearing. Third and final call, and I'll close the hearing. Any concern from the board about adding that easement? Good. So Natalie, in a motion, assuming we can just, in the motion to approve, with the understanding that the WAPA easement will be added? Condition? Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend approval of the final plat of the short form subdivision known as Lee subdivision and a zoning map amendment from agricultural to estate as the subdivision conforms to the regulations established in Article 7 of the Morton County Land Use Code and is in keeping with the land use priorities established in the 2045 Comprehensive Plan, and the plat would include the adjustment of and inclusion of the WAPA utility easements to be added.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 6.
Respectfully, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Lee.
Our next item is the North Pasture subdivision. This is in the southwest quarter of Section 14, Township 137 North, Range 85 West, not too far from what we just saw. This is about 6 miles southeast of Almont, east of County Road 85, 137, County Road 85, it's right here. The applicant is Kelly Bethke, looking to rezone this from ag to estate. It's 14.47 acres, basically breaking off pasture for the neighbors' sheep. So they do intend to just keep using it for ranching, ag ranching, and not construct anything on it. So this was an existing 30-foot access easement, this east-west easement. So on the plat, they're changing the title of it, so it would become an access and utility easement, and then they're adding this as an access and utility easement to get to that lot. So again, this was already recorded referencing that, including language to make it access and utility easement, and then continuing it there so that they can get whatever utilities they may need on this proposed lot. And again, going to estate, so would really just be anything they need for ranching type utilities. And if they wanted to build some sort of shelter, obviously they can do that. So staff recommends approval, and I can take any questions.
Questions for Natalie? All right, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Second call for the hearing. Third and final call, and I will close the hearing.
Is there anybody online? Maybe, no, maybe not.
Yeah, and I guess just throughout the night, if there's anyone online that would like to speak, just unmute yourself during a public hearing. Okay, wishes of the board.
Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend approval of the final plat of the short form subdivision known as North Pasture Subdivision and a zoning map amendment from agricultural to estate as the subdivision conforms to the regulations established in Article 7 of the Morton County Land Use Code and is in keeping with the land use priorities established in the 2045 Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 7.
Our next item is the final plat of Maverick Estates Second Subdivision. This is in the southwest quarter of Section 14, Township 137 North, Range 85 West, located on State Highway 6. Mandan Airport is here. The second phase is outlined in pink. First phase is yellow. This is zoned industrial. Everything else is agricultural around there. The applicant is Boulder Homes LLC. They're looking for approval of 24 lots and a zone change from ag to residential on 41.26 acres. So future land use designation is mostly ag. This is in the airport future land use designation, but this is essentially not, it's not a critical area for flight movement from the airport. And we already had a long discussion about it in the first phase, so just more of the same. So this is the master plan for the subdivision. Again, this is the first phase. They're requesting approval of this second phase, and then eventually they would do a third phase on that side. So essentially just right-of-way, utility easements, all these lots are roughly in that 1.5 acre range. I will put up, again, stormwater management plan online, but I have the diagrams I will put up. So those are the watersheds. This stormwater retention plan was already, or pond was already built for the first phase and was overbuilt, and considering all the water we got last spring, it did its job. So we had it was tested out and worked well. So they will, I guess if Abe is here, I'm not going to talk about the details in this, but if you want more details, Abe is here. So. And with that, staff is recommending approval.
Any questions for Natalie?
Mr. Chair, I do have one. Natalie, has anything changed with this one versus the last one we saw?
Nope, it's
Okay.
the same. Though just adding the stormwater management plan.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yes. And I guess I should add, it's not new information since last time, but just to reiterate that Missouri West did provide a letter that said they conserve those 24 lots. And as always, their communication is always good as of the date this letter is. It doesn't have a shelf life. It's always, accounts available as of today. Today meaning the day they wrote that letter. So, but that's no different than any other subdivision.
Any other questions for Natalie?
Mr. Chairman, a quick question. The industrial zoning that's to the north, any concerns? Because there's virtually no setback from an industrial into a residential.
That hasn't been built out. I'm not entirely sure why that got zoned to industrial. They have, I think, cold storage on the far north side, and there is no other development there. Usually it would be, if industrial is locating near residential, industrial has to put up a buffer. If residential is voluntarily moving toward the industrial, I guess everyone should be aware that something could go there someday, but it's the residents moving to the industrial zoning. I don't foresee a whole lot going there.
So maybe just a general question on that, Natalie. Is the buffer always mandated during the zoning process?
It would be if someone's requesting an upzone to industrial and there's a residential, or, we have categories for what type of zoning you have to put a buffer in between.
Right.
So if residential is there and, let's say it's zoned ag and they want to upzone to industrial, they have to put in the buffer at that time when they upzone it. This is a weird situation where it's already there. And
The zoning is there.
The zoning
Maybe my
is
question is, and maybe I guess, I just don't deal with site plans, and like, if a true industrial factory came in there, would that type of use require some sort of site plan with the county that could then require?
We need to get to that point. That's on my long list of to-dos. I gotta get data centers and all that done first, but we really do need a site plan review process. We don't have one right now, but I wanna add that to the land use code for that exact reason. That, for whether it's commercial, whether it's industrial, that you have another level of review before you can build something.
Yeah, because like even stormwater would be,
Would
you
absolutely.
come pave that entire industrial lot.
That would be a big change, yeah, for sure. And I think, I guess the way I see it, I think that would be a service to anyone who's developing, because if you upzone, but you don't know exactly what you're putting there, why do stormwater management? Because you don't know what's going there. You should do it at the point in time when you're actually gonna build something.
Right.
Yeah.
Other questions for Natalie?
I'm just curious, is the covenant for the second subdivision the same as the first subdivision?
That's a very good question, and I did not comb through it, so maybe Doug, did you change it much? Or something? Oh my gosh, so sorry.
They're slightly different, they're very similar.
Okay.
So the answer for the record was very similar.
Very similar,
Maybe a little more lenient.
yes.
I just kind of noticed no coal furnaces. I just thought, I've never seen that before in a
Covenant.
covenant, yeah. I don't know why. The coal country.
Okay, if there aren't any more questions, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. And a reminder, if anyone online would like to speak, go ahead and unmute yourself anytime during the hearing. Otherwise, please come up to the mic and state your name.
Good evening, Chairman, Board. Abe Almer with Independent Land Surveying and Engineering. I can touch to some of the stormwater issues or stormwater questions. We actually reevaluated the entire stormwater that was done for this subdivision prior. One main factor was we wanted to see what the paved, if the roads would ever be paved, does our stormwater work? Yes. As Natalie said, we did have a couple big storms down there that southeast pond did work well. Actually, my partner's daughter lives in that lot right next to that, and they have videos of that pond working well. For the stormwater, I also evaluated, because people are building more square footage and more paving and more driveway. I also evaluated more square footage in the report of like 8,000 square feet of house and driveway and additional gravel side yard for a shop, that sort of thing. So we did up that a little bit and then analyze that. Everything works properly. To the main storm, there is one major stormwater basin that goes to the west. We do meet our pre-flows there, because right now that is an existing crop, which actually has more runoff than the stormwater numbers actually manipulated. Changing the crop into grass actually helps us out with stormwater and slows down that runoff. So our main factor was just to make sure we channel that amount of water and everything like that, which is in the report, to utilize the stormwater ditches of the roadway, everything, to get it around everybody's residence and make sure that the ditches are deep enough and the culverts are sufficient enough to meet the county ordinance and everything. For this phase, I know what Natalie highlighted was this phase 2. We are going to look at building all of the roads to the west, because that stormwater has to be ditched through that area to continue to the west. We have a couple drainage swales through people's yard or property lines, along drainage easements and stuff like that, to get that water to the west. So our intent is to actually build it all, but not put gravel on the third phase, the future phase, just to make sure that all that infrastructure, or all those ditch and flow paths are there, all the culverts are there, and everything will be built to plan. So.
Any questions for Abe?
Okay.
Thanks, Abe.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, second call for the hearing. Third and final call, and I'll close the hearing.
Ready for a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Ready for a motion?
Move to recommend approval of the final plat of the long-form subdivision known as Maverick Estates. First subdivision and zoning map amendment from agricultural to residential, as the subdivision conforms to the regulations established in Article 7 of the Morton County Land Use Code, and the subdivision conforms to the policies established in the 2045 Comprehensive Plan.
Mr. Chairman, that may have been my typo, is the second, sorry.
That's what. Second, yep, second subdivision.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, item number 8.
So this is administrative cleanup. We did last fall adopt our use standards for direct air capture, and I dove into data centers and neglected to bring forward the resolution to actually lift officially the moratorium on that direct air capture use. So this is the resolution to officially lift that moratorium. The resolution to impose it was 30-2024-02. This resolution to lift it is 30-2026-01. And this is a formality bringing it through planning and zoning. I will go through the process to advertise for first and second hearing at county commission, as we say in our home rule charter. But this is just to bring it to P&Z, since it is a P&Z item.
Okay, any questions for Natalie? Okay, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing if there's anyone that would like to speak. Second call. Third and final call for the hearing, and I will close that hearing. Okay, ready for a motion, and so now that just needs to be a
Recommendation to approve, yep.
Mr. Chair, I would move to recommend approval to the Morton County Commission of Resolution 30-2026-01.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, our last item is proposed amendments to our section 3-010 floodplain overlay district. The state passed SB 2027. This was a bill related to floodplain administration for townships and counties that passed in the last legislative session and became effective August 1st. All the floodplain administrators received clarity from Department of Water Resources in December about what the implications of that bill were. So essentially, each year, counties and townships and cities, I think it's just counties and townships, we have to certify by March of each year that we are going to continue maintaining our floodplain authority, and we submit our ordinance. The state has a model ordinance that they would like everyone to adopt. As it so happens, we have had that model language in place for a long time, at least since the 2014 Land Use Code update. They did change just a couple of things that I will highlight to you. So this is on page 6. So we used to say, the language used to say, in relation to mean sea level. FEMA wants us to say the datum that was used. So we're just changing those kind of minor points. Same thing on page 8, changing mean sea level to the datum. On page 7, just very obviously that the role of a floodplain administrator is to approve or deny applications. We didn't have that language in there because it seemed pretty obvious, but they want that in there. So. On page 10, in the model ordinance, it does say, it has a whole separate section about enclosures and elevation of enclosures. I have put this in here under residential construction to say basement or other enclosure. That should capture what they were looking for. Our standard would be even stricter than theirs because they're talking about certain flood proofing and we're just saying basement, enclosure, just has to be elevated. Otherwise you don't get to have one. So our wording would be stricter than what's in the model ordinance from FEMA. I have trouble with this because we don't want to put in the code things that we are not prepared to regulate, but FEMA wants us to have language in there about recreational vehicles, so we're putting it in there so that we can comply. And these would have to be elevated in the same way that mobile homes would be, or just make sure that they're highway ready and can't be there for more than 180 consecutive days.
Mr. Chairman, question for
Go ahead.
Natalie on recreational vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
The recreational vehicles under motor vehicle code could also be like your ATVs, snowmobiles, those type of things. Is there any way to put a definition that recreational vehicles basically means campers?
So FEMA has, I was going to get to that at the end. FEMA has their own set of definitions that they want us to use, and I think that we already have them in our code. I will page through and just look and make sure that they match. And I was gonna, that is in your packet, there's a whole bunch of yellow pages at the front that are FEMA's definitions that they want to use. So I'm going to preserve those definitions for this section only, basically for our floodplain overlay district. Our code isn't laid out that way, but I'm gonna word it and say, these definitions are the definitions that apply strictly for 3-010 floodplain overlay district, because those are the definitions FEMA wants us to use. So that is in there, their definition of recreational vehicle. And then this is already in all the literature from FEMA that floodplain administrators adhere to, but it's just calling it out very specifically here that in floodways you get a 0. They're defining what no rise is, so out to the 1,000th, no rise up to the 1,000th feet, just to be very explicit about that.
Hey, Natalie, a couple things quick. So up on DA, really minor here, but after requirements should be
Another space.
should be as, I think,
Oh, yeah.
same requirements as.
Thank you.
And then on B, I guess if we're just adopting a model ordinance, it's fine.
Verbatim.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, for enforcement purposes, I'd maybe question defining what site means. Beyond the site, what is the site? Is it a parcel? Is it land owned by one person? Is
Right.
it, I don't know what that means. So, I don't know how you enforce something if you can't define it.
Yep.
And then finally, again, if we're just adopting a model ordinance, fine, but on 3A, I like to spell that out as greater than 0.00 feet or 0.004 feet, because really technically that's what it is. Zeros impossible, but 0.004
Okay.
is very technically what the threshold is,
Good, I like that.
which I think is sort of lost in translation sometimes.
Wonderful. I think that'll be great, and FEMA will probably like it. Maybe they'll fix their model ordinance.
I mean, 0.00 sounds more like,
Extreme.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that, oh, and then my other thing, so I have it in, okay, our section relating to manufactured homes. So I had gone to floodplain administrator refresher course, 2-day long thing done by FEMA District 8 and reminding me of some things. And so I had brought those refreshers back to our code. I think this was last year. We updated our code. What we have is more robust than even what FEMA requires as a minimum. So I think this is perfectly fine, but because we have to send this back through FEMA, I guess I'm asking, and I would ask County Commission the same thing, that here in gray is the exact wording that FEMA has provided. And if they don't like what's in our code, that we approve this gray language conditionally and say, if this is the only thing FEMA will accept, then this is what will be in our code. So in other words, we already require securely anchored to permanent piers. FEMA's talking about in cases where you don't require permanent piers, and they're talking about the manner in which you would secure a mobile home. Morton County has always had the requirement that mobile homes have to have a permanent foundation. Not all communities have that, and so this extra wording from FEMA is addressing, if that wouldn't be the requirement of the community. But I guess from my perspective, I think we already exceed what FEMA minimums would be for mobile homes.
Now, I haven't dealt with manufactured homes really, so the only thing that's unclear to me in kind of all of this is it elevate and secure for flotation? Like, is there a point where they're elevated and they don't need to be, anchored?
I think
For
they always have to
flotation.
also be anchored, but again, we say elevate to 2 feet above, which is beyond, FEMA just says 1 foot above, and securely anchored to permanent piers. I think the tie down is when, let's see, over the top, yeah, we include that, over the top ties, tie to ground anchors. Yeah, so we already say that here, and they're just repeating all
Right.
the instances in which.
So even if they're elevated 2 feet above the BFE, they still need to be anchored for flotation.
Right, because,
That's fine, I was just curious if I understood it.
yeah,
Yep.
I mean, I guess,
That seems kind of contradictory to me, and
It also has to do with wind when you elevate it
right,
up.
right,
'Cause
but
we-
that's the anchoring, right? This is flotation anchoring, right?
If you would elevate that 2 foot above the protective grade, you'd be out of it. You could file a LOMAR
And be out of it.
Right.
That's what I'm curious about. But the way even FEMA's is written, it says must be elevated and anchored to resist flotation, not or anchored, right?
Mhm.
Unless they're not considering the ground level would be at that 2 foot protective grade.
Right.
So you would have to be.
Sure. So and so maybe because you can elevate a manufactured home on, like, just on piers, right? But I think you're right too, Mark. If they elevated it on fill, they could submit a LOMAR, and then they wouldn't,
Right.
none of this would apply, so.
Yep.
All right. Anyways, just curious if I understood.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't know for sure, and I know that we haven't had, to my knowledge, manufactured home in the floodplain since I've been here. And, you know, when that would happen, I would probably contact District 8 because it would probably not be clear in the literature, and I would have to have them tell me. And maybe tax department has had this happen before and they know. In fact, it was there, I had to talk to them about what is the wording, you know, permanent piers. You know, that's the wording that they like for what means permanent. So.
No, it makes sense to me now. It's elevating it on piers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So again, the ask would be to recommend approving the yellow highlights in all of this and conditionally accepting the gray if that is the only wording that FEMA will accept.
Okay, so I guess one thing, Natalie, in the gray on 2,
Mm-hmm.
I know that's just snipped from FEMA's wording, but they're requiring 1 foot above BFE. That would sort of be an exception then in our, we require 2 for everything else, so wouldn't we?
No, we require 2 for, you can see it in there, manufactured homes.
Right, no, I know,
And
but
for
if,
residents, and for residences.
but if FEMA doesn't adopt ours and we adopt theirs, we would
Oh.
be changing it to 1.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes,
So
with
shouldn't-
the exception of elevations that are more strict in our code. Because
Right, so-
they'll be fine with 2 feet above.
Yeah, so wouldn't we
us.
essentially
Yeah.
adopt their gray text with the exception of at the bottom, like second to the bottom row, change the 1 to 2?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Section 3 has the same thing.
Yep, in section 3.
Okay, yeah. And then Natalie, I know these would get caught before this got updated, but in the variances and appeals section, there are a few broken references.
Oh, yes, it's because
Yeah.
when I print this, I chop it out because it's 180 pages.
Totally.
Thank you. They'll go back in. They'll go back in when I put it, stuff it back in.
Mr. Chair, I do have one question, and this might be a question for either Natalie or the surveyor in the house. Elevation, the same datum, either NAVD 88 or NGVD 29. What happens when the datum changes again? Do we have to go through all this all over again?
Probably.
Because I've been told today that's gonna happen in.
Soon?
Soon.
Oh, really?
It was supposed to happen in 2022.
I mean, do
It's
we
kinda-
actually need to specify those two, or is it just
Yeah.
in the same
This
datum?
is what FEMA wants us to put in there.
So is FEMA gonna reissue stuff when it changes again?
Probably. Yeah, I mean, it kind of constantly gets updated and, you know, we got new maps in 2015. We had to adjust and say, based on the maps as of October 16th, 2015. You know, we had to update our ordinance. So basically, anytime FEMA says, thou shalt update your ordinance, then we update our ordinance.
I just find it comical.
That's another discussion that's gonna happen between 2 federal agencies, NGS
And it's gonna take forever.
and
Yeah, so probably don't have to worry about it for another 10 years.
Right now, it's gonna stay 88 data for quite a while, but the
Yeah.
goal is that the horizontal and vertical will all be on 1 data.
Right, yeah, that's the way I understand it as well, but if mean sea level's gonna change again, then why are we
Sure.
why are we specifying?
Well,
it?
and this,
That's why they said it was gonna happen in 2022, and now we're in 2026.
Yeah,
and this is,
We'll have to figure that out.
yeah, and this is basically, we have to update this before March, before we certify for the year. And so it doesn't matter if it's gonna change again, we have to do it right away.
I just find it interesting that they're gonna make us put the actual wording in there. Why not just,
Yeah.
Well,
say
yeah,
the
right, if we just say the same datum as the firm,
Current
then they control it.
Uh-huh.
yeah,
So I
something
don't
like
understand
that.
Yeah,
something generic.
that's what they wanted.
Mr. Chairman, quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anything from that updated training or even from this document on, that will apply to the Harmon Lake inundation zone?
No. We just had a meeting, or the water board had their meeting today. They are going to write up their proposal for how we, I don't even think they're gonna say solve. They're just gonna say, well, I don't even wanna, it was discussed. There's gonna be a letter that they are gonna formally give to planning and zoning and the county. And we will have to update our ordinance. It's yet to be seen exactly the mechanism by which we will do that. It's possible that that could somehow get incorporated into this, but that will be a whole other thing that's not gonna happen in this time frame. That we need this by March. So I asked them if they would give it to me before April, and they said that they would do that, or by end of April, and then we'll have 1 year until the moratorium ends to hopefully come up with a permanent solution to that zone 1. But so the timing will not be anywhere close to the same. And then we can update it again.
Okay, so I don't think we did a public hearing. I'll do a public hearing on the floodplain overlay district.
And I should say that, you know, because whenever we do land use code updates, we always do 2 months. So this will come back probably in the exact same form in February.
Sure.
And then county commission quickly, and then submit our certification in March.
Okay. All right, is there anyone that would like to speak on the floodplain overlay district? Second call. Third and final call, and I'll close the hearing. All right, ready for a motion or recommendation from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the floodplain overlay district amendments as presented, accepting the yellow changes, and with the conditions if FEMA does not agree to our wording in section C, that we would then adopt theirs, moving from 1 foot to 2 foot for our elevations.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. All right, pursuant to North Dakota Century Code 440420, is there anyone that would like to provide public comment? And I did not receive any cards. Do second call. Third and final call. All right, I will close the public comment period and ready for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.